Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharani Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Paskachada Satarani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, today is also Makara Sankran, which is we call it the winter solstice. It's the shortest day of the year. It's when the sun starts to move to the north again. And Makara means shark, I think, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, Makara. Kranti. So, the Sakrantis refer to the entrance of the sun into zodiac signs. Makara Sakranti is when the sun enters into Capricorn. It is also the equinox, the winter solstice. The sun now starts moving to the north, and the days become longer and the nights shorter. Sankranti means crossing over, as from one astrological house to the next. It is this cusp or transitional period. The first day the sun enters into a new rasi or house is called Sankranti. And from the Bhagavatam, it says in the 7th canto, chapter 14, text 24 and 25, during these periods of seasonal change, if one bathes in the Ganga, in the Yamuna, or in another sacred place, if one chants, offers fire sacrifices or executes vows, or if one worships the Supreme Lord, the Brahmins, the forefathers, the demigods, and the living entities in general, whatever he gives in charity yields a permanent beneficial result. And text 25, all of these seasonal times are considered extremely auspicious for humanity. At such times, one should perform all auspicious activities, for by such activities, a human being attains success in his short duration of life. And we're having our little Rath Yatra today, so it's most auspicious on this day. Now, as far as Jiva Goswami, let's see how this works out. Had a long life, actually, 84, 85 years. Srila Jiva Goswami, as it says there, appeared in 1513 and disappeared in 1598. He was born in this, well, what's the next slide? What does the next say? You're a little slow on the uptake there, my friend. Okay. He appeared in the village of Ramakeli, and his uncles were Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami. His father, Anupama, was later on named by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Ballabha. Sri Ballabha passed away in 1514, which means that Jiva Goswami would have been about a year and a half old. So, you know, but he was certified by, he is the devotee. I'm losing my voice. Answered prayers of someone. Along with Murari Gupta, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu persuaded him, tried to persuade him that, of course, the 3 chantings of Ram equal 1 chanting of Krishna, that there's Vishnu, and even more intimate than Vishnu is Lord Ram, and even more intimate than Lord Ram, the supreme, fullest manifestation of the personality of Godhead is Krishna. And he actually convinced him that you should be, instead of chanting Ram's name, of course Hare Krishna, Hare Ram means Balaram, means Nityananda. So he went home after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Imagine Chaitanya Mahaprabhu convincing you of something. So he agreed, yes, from tomorrow I will stress the chanting of Krishna's name. Couldn't sleep. Decided he was going to commit suicide. He could not pull his heart away from Lord Ram. And anyone know, other than Dravida Prabhu, work with me, so he lets them intelligence flow. Anyone know what his Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's response was when Vallabha Anupama said that he could not take his heart back from Lord Ram? Anyone know his response? No? Yeah, Ram. He said, you are the real lover of Lord Ram. That this is like Hanuman. How could you tell Hanuman to take his mind away from Lord Ram? So that Prabhupada one time, and I'll tell the short version, he licked the frosting off some peanut butter frosting on sugar cookies. You know, they used to call them butter, those butter, sugar, and white flour. It's all in them. And with frosting. And Prabhupada licked off the frosting, left the cookies. The devotee said, Prabhupada, you don't like the cookies? Prabhupada said, everyone has their own taste. So the idea that all of us are individuals, we have our own individual, unique relationship with Krishna in his different forms, in the Shringa, Varaha, so many different. So that was he was a stalwart devotee of Lord Ramchandra. He also, they had a very wealthy family. Next, what's the next slide? He had a very wealthy family, and they were zamindars, or landholders, but he had absolutely no interest. It says that he was always meditating on how he could run away and join his uncles in Vrindavan. His uncles had already gone and joined Mahaprabhu, so he was always thinking, how could he do that? In a dream, Krishna and Balaram appeared to him. Then they became Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, and Mahaprabhu said, I'm putting you in the charge of Lord Nityananda. Now, when he actually did, they were thinking about getting him married, so many different things. So Jiva Goswami escaped on the pretext of going to Navadvip to learn Sanskrit, because he was a great scholar. He mastered, grammar, poetry, rhetoric, debate. He just was unexcelled. So he went to polish up his scholarship at Navadvip, and there he met Lord Nityananda, and Lord Nityananda gave him a tour of all the 9 islands of Navadvip, and showed him that someday there will be a Bhuta Mandir, a amazing temple will come up here, and people from all over the world will come and chant and dance. So that was predicted well over 500 years ago by Nityananda Prabhu to Jiva Goswami. And of course that is the temple of the Vedic planetarium, which is coming up. So next. So he is the founder. When he went to Vrindavan, he was sent to assist the Goswamis. There was a whole series of messages that went back. The whole time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri, was the last 24, 28, how many years? 16? What was it? 18 years of Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, there was a whole series of letters sent back and forth. How was the preaching? What about this? And Rupa Goswami had appealed that I need help. He was worshiping, and you'll see it anyway, beautiful Govinda Dev, and that's a whole other story. But the maintenance, maintaining the deity up to the standard was full-time engagement. Plus, people were coming. He was getting followers. The whole thing was growing. There was the book. So he said, I need help. So he sent Jiva Goswami, he sent Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, different people, Kashish Ishwara, so many people were sent. So Jiva Goswami's mission was to assist Sanatana and Rupa Goswami. And when he met Sanatana and Rupa, Sanatana Goswami told him that you should be under the shelter of Rupa Goswami. So he was assisting both Sanatana. He would help prepare their pens, it was a whole thing. They had to make their own ink. They had to make their own paper. It was not an easy thing, writing those books. Each book was like a jewel. It was before Gutenberg and the press. They were all hand, illustrated hand. We were reading Jiva Goswami. What did it? He had a special ink and a special stylus, all kinds of stuff. And he prepared all that. We'll see more about that in a moment. So that was his service, to clean, to cook for them, and to prepare their paper and their ink and for their writing. So he also, there was Rup Narayan, who was a big scholar. And Rup Narayan was very puffed up. It was like being a rock star nowadays, or a movie star. That was like being a scholar or a pundit, and they would travel. They had groupies. They had debates and challenges, and it was the big entertainment to see that even in our time, or not our time, but within relatively recent time, you had the Lincoln-Douglas debates. That it was a big deal. The whole town stopped, and they'd have a big debate. So there was that's before the days of cable and everything else. It's rotting the brain. So the Rup Narayan had conquered all over the subcontinent of India, and Navadvip and Vrindavan were centers of scholarship and learning. So he went and challenged Sanatana and Rupa Goswami. And they're not going to waste time. They're, one of the symptoms of the Goswamis is they did not waste time. And so they didn't, we're not going to waste our time debating you. There's some dry scholar. What's the point? And so they said, well, if you're not going to debate me, then you have to agree to sign a declaration that you've been defeated by me. So they said, oh, give it to him. He got rid of him. So then he was going all over Vrindavan and claiming that he defeated even Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. And here's the proof. They've signed this declaration. So Jiva Goswami, who Prabhupada said was the greatest philosopher to walk the planet, we'll talk about that in a minute, could not tolerate that his gurus were being maligned like this. So he challenged him and completely defeated him. Rupa Goswami, it says that you teach the daughter-in-law by teaching the daughter. And the example is that the daughter-in-law is new in the house, because the tradition, at least in Vedic times, was that the bride would go to the house of the groom and live in the house of the groom. So she's new. Every house has their way they do things. Well, we roll the chapatis like that. We spice the sabji like this. We have our way of doing it. So, but if she's the new bride is being told by the mother-in-law and the sister-in-law, do it like this, do it like that, do it. They feel, geez. It's uncomfortable. So even though the daughter knows, she's raised in the house. This is the way we make samosas. We put cashews in the samosas or whatever. It's how we do it here. But the mother will tell her own daughter, who already knows, hey, don't forget to put the cashews in it, and use this or that. You got to use amchur, whatever it is. And the daughter-in-law, being perceptive, will pick up on it. Oh, that's how they do it here, without having to be told directly. So because of sensitivity, you teach the daughter-in-law by teaching the daughter. So even though Jiva Goswami knew all these things, to make the example, you teach the daughter-in-law by teaching the daughter to set an example for us that Trinadapi Sunichena, Mahaprabhu says, lower than the straw in the street, more tolerant than the tree, ready to offer all respects to others, not expecting any respect for yourself. That which Srila Bhakti said, Krishna Das Kaviraj himself says that verse by Mahaprabhu, you should wear around your neck like a garland. All right, so what to do? So he banished him from Vrindavan. Rupa Goswami banished Jiva Goswami from Vrindavan. We heard about that yesterday. He was living in an abandoned crocodile hole. They're big animals, crocodiles, so big enough to climb in there and rest on the bank of the Ganga or Jamuna, probably the Jamuna. And then he was just baking a little atta, a little wheat flour, and mixing it with Ganga Jal, Jamuna water, and living on that. He actually became quite thin. So nobody knew exactly where he was. So Sanatana Goswami said to him that you are not following the principles of Mahaprabhu. This is Jiva Doya, which means one of the qualities is mercy to all living entities. So it was a play on words because Jiva Goswami had been banished from Vrindavan. So Rupa Goswami thought, I'd bring him back. And they found out from the villagers there was one sadhu living in a crocodile hole and crying all the time. So they brought him back. But lest we misunderstand the relationship, Jiva Goswami's beautiful Damodar, we'll have a picture of Damodar in just a minute, was carved by Rupa Goswami. They were expert at so many skills. Sanatana Goswami, when he would walk to Govardhan Hill or Manasi Ganga or whatever it was, to Brindakund, he would ask the farmers, how are your crops? He knew when the seasons to plant. He was the prime minister and the finance minister, Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, for Nawab Hussain Shah. And the country was bigger than France, West Bengal and East Bengal, Bangladesh. So my point is that they knew things. They were practical, as you'll see in just a minute. So he knew how to carve deities. He carved the big Damodar. So deeply, and when he became very old, Jiva Goswami lovingly took care of Rupa Goswami. Had his samadhi is there, his bhajan kutir is there, everything is there. So they had a deep, deep, loving relationship. So don't misunderstand. It was just to teach us. So this is the entrance to the, where's my laser pointer? Oh, what do you know about that? Well, we'll have to struggle through. The, do we have a laser pointer? Acha, what do you know about that? We'll see. So that's the entrance, and there's still, this picture is 1973, so you can do the math, how many, it's 51 years ago, whatever it is. There's still, for 400 years, there's been somebody sitting in that entranceway they sell garlands. You give a donation and you get a garland. And that's the courtyard, the Darshan Mandap, and then you go up the steps and that's the altar. To the right is the little veranda where Prabhupada's rooms were. So next. This is the Samadhi of the Radha Damodar temple. Where are you going now? Oh, thought you found a laser pointer. All right. Next. This is the Samadhi Murti of Jiva Goswami, and those are his Japamala, 500-year-old Japamala. No, we'll roll on. Next. So this is Prabhupada. the room on the left is Prabhupada's. Oh, look at that. Achha. Way to go, you've redeemed yourself. The left-hand side is where Prabhupada's kitchen is, and there's something special about that. And the right-hand side is where Prabhupada's bed, where he used to sleep and used to do his work and stuff like that. So, and Prabhupada would sit on that veranda, and the Jiva Goswami's deity is there. And because each deity used to have its own temple, but to save money, the pujaris would, because along with the temple came cows, all those shops in Vrindavan, Loy Bazaar, the different bazaars, those are all owned by the temples, and the businessmen pay rent, and that rent helps maintain the deities. So I've got to get my fourth daughter married, and I don't have any more money for the dowry. Well, fine, let's just sell off part of the land of the deity, and I'll pocket the money. And then over generations, they sold off all the cows, they sold off all the lands. So what to do? Well, let's just put the deities in one. Why have three temples? Let's just have one temple, put all the deities in one temple. So that actually happened. So the deities of Krishna Das, I want to make sure I'm right about this. I'll have to look and make, but it's either Vrindavan Das Thakur or Krishna Das Kaviraj, or it's on the tip of my tongue. But now, along with Radha Damodar, are two other big Radha Krishna deities. So Prabhupada used to sit on this veranda and chant japa and for hours and just see the deities and watch the arti and everything. Next. Now this is on the right is Prabhupada's kitchen. Yeah, thank you very much. And this is the veranda. And we're looking into the kitchen, and then this is inside the kitchen. And what is Prabhupada meditating on? Is every breath, every mouth, every step, what's he meditating on? What's next? This is Rupa Goswami. You look out the window there, and you see Rupa Goswami, both his Bhajan Kutir and his Samadhi Mandir. Yeah. You can see them both. But this is Prabhupada's Bhajan Kutir. I mean Rupa Goswami's Bhajan Kutir. And Prabhupada said that, that's a whole story, but the conclusion is that he got the darshan of Rupa Goswami at Radha Damodar Temple, Jiva Goswami's Radha Damodar Temple. And it's a whole story. Prabhupada said that Rupa Goswami told him, you write these books, you go to the West, we'll take care of everything else. And they certainly did. Well, I didn't have time to finish everything, but there's a picture when Prabhupada first comes back to Vrindavan with Western disciples in 72 or 73, I forget the year. But, and they're sitting and Prabhupada gives us lectures on nectar of devotion. So Prabhupada went you go to the West, just go to the West. We'll take care of everything else. Write the books, go to the West, we'll take care of everything else. Prabhupada does it in spite of incredible difficulty, heart attack, so many different things, everything's stolen, staying with people with their crazy cat food in the refrigerator, and proud of how, I haven't taken a bath for 3 weeks, and proud of it. So what Prabhupada is just incredible, you know. When Prabhupada talks about with the hippies, and the newspaper reporter asked him, what's a hippie? Prabhupada said, oh, something amazing. You know, Prabhupada couldn't even believe it, you know. So, and then Prabhupada actually came back with what would you call it, a gaggle, like geese follow, you know, ducklings following, you know, Prabhupada, all brand new Vaishnavas. And there's Prabhupada there speaking every morning on the Nectar of Devotion by Rupa. Under Rupa Goswami's order he went, and now he's come back. Look, it worked. I did it. Here they are, you know. Yeah, it's an amazing thing. Okay, next. So Rupa Goswami said, Prabhupada said, Prabhupada said, I eternally reside in my rooms at Radha Damodar. And this is at in the Hayagriva's Vrindavan days, and it's also in the Lilamrita, and it's also confirmed by Harisari. So its province is confirmed by 3 different sources. And then Prabhupada said it all began here. Therefore, the Radha Damodar rooms are the hub of the wheel of the spiritual universe. It's actually in Sevakunj, which is, Sevakunj, of where Krishna danced with the gopis. So it's not only Madhurya Ras, so it's where it all begins in Goloka Vrindavan. It's also where the Goswamis would meet and write their books, and so it all began there. And it's where Prabhupada had the darshan of Rupa Goswami and came to the West. So in so many ways, it all began at Radha Damodar Sevakunj. Next. Oh, this is blissful. Tamal Krishna Maharaj told me this. This is, picture here's the wall and here's the ceiling of Prabhupada's bedroom. Not the kitchen, but the other room. You can see, you go there. And there's a support beams that go up and then a beam across the ceiling. So what we're looking at, if I only have my laser pointer, there we go. No, up. See that? Right up in there? That stone, and it slides out. And there's a compartment about this big. Slide it back. And Tamal Krishna said that the Goswamis, Prabhupada told him, Prabhupada pointed it out to him. And Prabhupada said the Goswamis used to hide things there. Tamal Krishna Maharaj asked Prabhupada, what did the Goswamis hide? Prabhupada, because they're renounced, they're living in, what are they hiding? You know, Prabhupada's answer was? Probably prasadam. It's a universal thing. But then Prabhupada said, actually, they used to keep their writing pens and their writing material up there. You know, get monkeys and things getting in the way of things. So they would keep things in there. So, okay, next. Now let's see if I have anything I wanted to say in the meantime. Okay. So, in addition to Rupa Goswami carving the Radha Damodar let's go. Oh, we get there already? What happened to the will? Okay, we'll get there in a second. No. I know what I'm doing. I know it doesn't look like it, but. So he wrote about 25 books. Sometimes it's not quite clear who wrote the book, because just like the Satsandarbha was edited by Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and Hari Bhakti Vilas by Sanatana Goswami. A lot of the editing was done by Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So they would often pass around their books, and what the hey? The Rupa Goswami had written, and I don't know the book, which one, that Radharani's braid is like a beautiful black shiny snake going down her back. And Sanatana Goswami, because they would review each other's books and edit it, said, no, I don't think that. She's a delicate, beautiful, young gopi, and you got a black snake climbing up her back. I don't know about that, you know. So Rupa Goswami, very respectful of his older brother, took it out. Then he was meditating at Manasaganga. And all of a sudden, on the other side of the Kund, these beautiful young gopis came down and they were bathing. They would bathe with their white cloth on and dip in the water like that. And obviously there was at the center, there was one most beautiful who was obviously the other girls were serving her. And they all took their dip and came out. And when they came out to walk back up the steps, lo and behold, there was a black snake climbing up the back. So Sanatana Goswami started yelling, snake, snake, snake. And then the beautiful young girl looked at, laughed, disappeared. And Rupa Goswami ran back to Sanatan and said, Sanatan ran back to Rupa and said, no, you put it back in, she likes it. So these are the kind of things that they would exchange back and forth with their editorial. So I don't know how we got off on that, but it was worth it. So this is Srila Jiva Goswami's will. This is his and it's witnessed by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur and Krishnadas Kaviraj. Their signature is on it. It's at the very top. I didn't have time because I was doing this last night, but I'll show you later on where I'm going to take it out and add to it so you can see their signature. But in that Vrindavan Institute, which is just down the road in Vrindavan from our Krishna Bala. What's that? Oh, you got some light in your hand. What is it? You found it.
I had to charge it up.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Thank you very much.
Yeah, if you do it all the way, then it's going to be.
Yeah, no, we're cool.
All right.
Well, whatever. Probably blind somebody. This is modern technology. No, I have a good one. Okay, I got it. All right. You can teach a monkey. What you can teach an old man new tricks? The point is that these are real people. They existed, and they were practical. Jiva, Prabhupada was a practical. I think it's Giriraj Maharaj, but I don't know whether it's within 2 weeks of Prabhupada's disappearance. He called Giriraj Maharaj in, said, in the Almirah, one of those metal cabinets that you open. He said, in the Almirah, he said, third shelf in the back, look. And he looked, and there were some CDs, Indian bank CDs, and they were just about due to be rolled over. Prabhupada had kept money for the BBT. He had a BBT account, and people gave him a donation. He'd put the money in the bank, and to make it earn money, they were, certified deposits. So, they made a little extra money. So Prabhupada was practical. So the GBC, you're just management. No, if you love Krishna, you take care of Krishna's things, right? You're not an impersonalist. Krishna unconscious. So he actually had the will. He kept the deeds for Radhakund because they had to purchase the land. He oversaw the construction at Radhakund. There was the businessman who gave the money to Raghunath Das, and the businessman managed the finances, and they had to hire an architect. They had to do construction. These things don't happen overnight. So similarly with the temples. So Jiva Goswami's will, witnessed and signed by Krishnadas Kaviraj and Vrindavan Das Thakur. Next. And it's about four, it's probably about, it depends on the size of the script, but it's about 4 pages. So I just wanted to read part, because it talks about one of the well, I'll say this first. This is how it starts. Hail to Sri Krishna and Sri Radha, who yearn to confer happiness on each other. On day 2 of the dark half of the month of Magrisha, 1606, this will and testament of Jiva, a resident of Vrindavan, and a follower of the lotus feet of their reverences, the happily named Sanatana and Sri Rupa. This entire undertaking of mine is all for the sake of facilitating the service of Sri Krishna and Sri Radha, who are manifest as the glorious Murtis whom I worship. That's how his will starts. And in his will, it says he points out who his predecessor is, who his books can be edited by. No one else could touch them but Krishnadas Kaviraj or Vrindavan Das Thakur. They're responsible for maintaining them, making, the whole thing. It's all laid out. So they were very practical. Shut the lights off for 1 second. This light off for 1 second. You're making an old man do it? Okay, I just wanted you guys to see. You get a little better picture. That's Damodar, carved by Jiva Goswami. Okay, next. No, I don't want you to do it. Read your money. Zip over there and turn the light on. You got that youth? Use it. Okay. Let's see. Oh, this is far out. I was talking with Radharaman, the scholar, Radharaman, and Radhika Raman, I'm sorry, Radhika, yeah, from Boise. And why do we believe the Bhagavatam? On what basis do you believe the Bhagavatam? And you say it's the ripened fruit of the Vedas? Well, why? Wait, I didn't ask you. Why? I guess I did ask you. Sorry about that. Why? And what makes the Vedas? Why should we follow the Vedas? There's so many different pramanas. There's, what people say, and there's inductive, there's all kinds of different pramanas or sources of gaining knowledge. So he starts off, the Satsandarbhas start off, like they say, Western philosophy, I think, therefore I am. I don't know how do we know what's real? How do we know what we know? I mean, we all believe so many different things. People believe that the earth is flat. Prabhupada said, everywhere I walk it is. It's a silly question. They're described as lokadvipas. They're round, and the planets are, it's all explained, depending on what dimension you're in. So, now what was I going to say? It'll come to me. So how do we know what we know? Well, how do we believe so many things? Is it all blind faith? And he systematically dismantles, like Prabhupada says, that we have a tendency to be illusioned, we have a tendency to make mistakes, we have a tendency to forget, we have imperfect senses. So any knowledge that's based on those is going to be imperfect, it's going to be defective. So how do we know what we know? And he starts off with seer, seen, and the act of seeing. I know that there's an internal world and an external world. I'm conscious. I don't know about you. You might all be, we might not be conscious beings, but I know that I'm conscious. I know that the city of 9 gates, and I'm looking out. I know that I have a sense of self. Okay, so there's me, the seer. And I know that there's an external reality. What is its nature? That's another thing. It's all boiled down to the where to begin. And I know that I'm experiencing it. So there's the seer, me, my internal world, conscious self. There's the external world, the seen, and there's the experience, the act of seeing. And systematically from that, he goes by and, we don't have time to go through the whole thing, but he dismantles all other sources of knowledge until there has to be descending knowledge. It has to be handed down. It has to be from a higher to the lower. Okay? And then ultimately, from all the different sources of descending knowledge, he comes to the Vedas, and of all the Vedas, he comes all the way to the Bhagavatam. So if you want to know the truth, you have to read the Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam is the highest, fullest understanding of truth. That's one of the things that he accomplishes in Satsandarbha. So these are profound. So Jiva Goswami was a practical manager. He held the land titles, managed records, was the executor of the wills for the other Goswamis. Because these were big operations, big temples, hundreds of Brahmins, maintaining them. Rupa Goswami was responsible. He had a Goshala with 500 cows, over 500 cows. Jiva Goswami, we'll get to Jiva in a second. Sanatana Goswami was told by Mahaprabhu that you make sure that all Vaishnavas who come to Vrindavan, they can peacefully perform their bhajan. You're responsible to make sure they all get rice. And he did it. And Rupa Goswami, he was responsible to provide milk. So he had a Goshala with over 500 cows. And Jiva Goswami was to make sure they all had living places. That was his assignment. So that if you gave everything up, primarily they're coming from Orissa, but they were coming from so many places, Bengal, Orissa, wherever Mahaprabhu was, walking in the West India, South India, he made followers. And then his followers made followers. So Sanatan, Rupa, and Jiva Goswami were to make sure that they all had rice, they all had milk, and they all had a living place. It's a nice arrangement, and you just peacefully live austerely and do your bhajans. So he arranged for purchasing the land and the construction of Radhakund. Bijamani, because I want you to zip over there. I want you to sit somewhere where you can be prepped, because I want you to see this picture of Radhakund. Gives you a little flavor of the mystical place. And Jiva Goswami maintained the deeds and the titles to the land to make sure they're nice. Okay, you can go back. You're going to be racing back and forth. I want to make sure you don't fall asleep. Okay, next. Now, Akbar and Red Fort. No, he's attentive. I'm just joking. Why do we care about Akbar? Akbar, you have to understand, forget Queen Elizabeth, forget Louis XIV, forget it. The top empires at this time was the Moghul Empire. The apex was under Akbar. The nearest competition was China. What do they call him? Genghis Khan, not Genghis Khan. Who was the other? Kublai Khan was the Chinese empire, and then the next to that was the Persian or Ottoman Empire. For England, I mean, they were in these freezing cold, no central heating, no sewage system. I mean, they were practically barbarians by comparison. So Akbar, at the apex of the Mughal Empire, I mean, the Mughal Empire was all the way from Afghanistan all the way through Burma. I mean, just try to understand how big Christopher Columbus was not trying to get. Where was he trying to get to? Well, they all were trying to get to India. I mean, that's a whole other story. So, and this is just, but this is just the gate of the Red Fort. You could drop Buckingham Palace in one corner of the Red Fort in Delhi, and it wouldn't even equal the stable. So, such a powerful person was Akbar. Next. Caught you off guard. Now, Akbar was very eclectic and open-minded. And he used to, although he was raised in Muslim tradition, he would see all kinds of Sufi mystics and things like that. It's a whole story. But he was spiritually inclined. You'll see, and don't worry, I haven't gone afield in bearing you in history. You'll see the value of this. So he heard about Jiva Goswami. Rupa Goswami had already passed away. Sanatan Goswami had already passed away. So Jiva Goswami was the Acharya of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas in Vrindavan. And he'd heard about him. Akbar had heard about him, his scholarship, and he wanted to meet him. So, he just snaps his finger and somebody comes. So he said that, bring him to, he was in Fatehpur Sikri. Fatehpur Sikri was the new capital that he'd built. It's probably by car, maybe an hour and 20 minutes at the most from Vrindavan. You've got Agra here, you've got Vrindavan here, Delhi up here, and you've got Fatehpur Sikri here. That's a whole other story. Air conditioning, so many things. Fantastic place. Even today, it'll be 110 degrees, and it's angled in such a way up on a hill that it catches the prevailing winds. So it's cool inside the stone buildings. It can be 110 degrees outside, and in those buildings, there's a cooling breeze. He had a constant stream of camels bringing huge ox carts or camel carts full of blocks of ice from the Himalayas. And then there were tanks on top of the buildings, And you would fill those with water. They put the ice inside there. And then they put scented flowers, saffron, tuberose, different things. And then by gravity feed, there was piping through all the ceilings. And you'll see when you go there, there's these little lotus flower buds. And if you're in this particular room, your servant pulls the lever, it opens up, and all the ice cold fragrant water flows through all the pipes, and it's a mist, a cooling mist. I mean, that's the caliber of people that we're talking about. And fragrant, yeah. What's like gold, the default of gold is it doesn't have a fragrance. So you've got an AC instead of Legionnaire's disease or whatever they get from it now, they get a nice fragrance. So the point I'm making is that this is Akbar. Sends an emissary. He wants to meet Jiva Goswami, come to Fatehpur Sikri, my capital. He says, no. I don't leave Vrindavan. I'm not going. Talk about truth to power. All right. Then I'm coming. No. You can't come. You're pound, shilling, pence men. Vrindavan is just peaceful for sadhus. You're going to come here with your entourage and as the king and, a military, whatever you call it, vanguard. No, you can't come. So he had to agree. Akbar was intrigued by this point. He came with only, I don't know what, like a dozen attendants. Everybody dressed very simple clothing, khadi cloth, and he came. And he was so struck. Oh, this is a nice fairy. Oh, okay, fine, fantastic. Sorry, 500 years ago. Why should I believe it? I'll tell you why I should believe it. Here we go. Because at the end of the darshan, Akbar was so stunned, and there's two pastimes, I'll tell you that one in a minute. Let me give you something. This is Ishwar Bhav of Kshatriyas. You give in charity. What can I give you? No. I don't need anything. What? No. No one sees me, Akbar. No one sees me and leaves without something memorial for me. No, it's affront to my honor and prestige. You have to take something. So Jiva Goswami pointed out the railing of a kund. You see, like a simple railing, and the corner was broken. And he said, you could replace this railing. Now, he built Red Fort. You saw a picture of Red Fort. I described Fatehpur Sikri. There was another Red Fort in Agra. There was another one in Lahore. And you're telling him fix a part of a railing? What is this, an insult? And then Jiva Goswami gave him spiritual vision, because everything in Vrindavan is Chintamani Dham. It's all made of priceless jewels. And he all of a sudden was given vision of Vrindavan. And he Akbar calculated all the jewels in his treasury. The crown jewels in the crown of the Queen of or King of England now, those are all pried out of the peacock throne that the Moghul emperors used to sit on. They were all just chipped out of deities and things like that. It's just incredible. So the point is, he realized that he didn't have enough jewels and gold in his treasury to replace that railing. He had to accept defeat. But he did something. What he did was he built the library at Radha Damodar for keeping all the books of the deities. So he gave some, those are the real, Jiva Goswami said, you want to protect some jewels? Here, protect these books. So he built the library. So it actually happened. The library's there. And there's even more proof. Next. Now, there was a debate amongst Pandits. Pandits love to argue and nitpick and speculate, or they have keen intelligence and they like to ruminate over subtleties. So there was a big debate at Fatehpur Sikri amongst the scholars. What was superior? Was the Mother Ganga more important, or was the Jamuna more important? The left is the Jamuna, that's the transl skyline of Vrindavan. And of course, the right is Mother Ganga. So what to do? Nobody could answer it. They called scholars from Kashmir, nobody could answer it. And there were the scholars in Fatehpur Sikri, Akbar's capital, were all stirred up. Akbar thought, all right, we'll ask Jiva Goswami. By this time, there was a relationship. So Jiva Goswami said, but what to do? I don't leave Vrindavan. Akbar said, I will send you a royal carriage with 8 horses. We'll pick you up at sunrise and we'll get you back before sunset. So you won't have to spend the night outside Vrindavan. We'll do it all in one day. So Jiva Goswami agreed. And Jiva Goswami, we're giving the short version, but Jiva Goswami said, here's the situation, that the Mother Ganga is very proud that the Lord's lotus toe, as Vamanadev went through the covering of the universe, and everyone bathes in the Ganga and so on, because the Ganga comes from the toe of Mother Ganga. I mean, from Vamanadev. Let's see if that works. So, and everyone wants to bathe in the Ganga. But Mother Ganga is feels second class or inferior to the Jamuna. And the Jamuna, people compete, they have a little competition there, prestige. So the Jamuna used to say, well, you got the toe, but when he came as Krishna, Jamuna Tirabhanachari, he was full immersion. He would jump in his whole body. So you got the toe, okay, big deal. I got full immersion, so there. So the Jamuna, the Ganga was feeling a little inferior. So how did Krishna pacify her? Don't worry. When I come as Mahaprabhu, I'll bathe in the Ganga profusely at Navadvip. I'll bathe, I'll sport in the water, and you'll be equal. So and all of this is on different shastras and quotes and Puranas, and he made the whole case that actually they're equal, that Krishna is so merciful, he balanced it so there's no competition, that they both got full immersion. And everyone's sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And Jiva Goswami got in the carriage and rode back to Vrindavan. So next. Now Akbar donated the land for Radha Govinda temple, and he donated the land for Radha Damodar. And he allowed the Bansi Red, that sandstone, that was only for royal buildings. But he gave permission. That's a whole story. His one of his 9 jewels was Man Singh, his general, was a great Vaishnava. That's a whole story. I don't know if you can see it there, but that's Akbar's armor. It's there at the where is it? No. Yeah, I think it's at the Red Fort, but it's at the Red Fort in Agra. But the point is, his sword is there. His sword, I couldn't even swing the thing. I couldn't even pick it up. And he's about 7 foot tall. He was a big guy. You can see his armor. I mean, he was big. He used to be able to ride on a horse. This is a Kshatriya. We get devotees that get a little pea shooter, BB gun, and think, oh, I'm a Kshatriya, He would ride on a horse. And because of heat and because of riding on the horse, there had to be a slit right here where you could turn your neck so you could see. And that they would make with leather or whatever it was, If you got your armor, but you've got to have some flexibility. So there was a tiny gap there. He had an arrow shaped like a crescent, like a razor blade, but shaped like a crescent moon on an arrow. He could shoot that thing, and at 100 yards, he could shoot and cut off your head. That's a Kshatriya. So, and here he is bowing down, asking how can he serve Jiva Goswami. Next. So this is Rupa Goswami. He gave the land for this and the red sandstone. This is Rupa Goswami in the top there. This is it's a really nice angle. This picture was taken in 1850 of Govindadev Rupa Goswami's temple. And I do have a laser pointer by the grace of Dravid if I don't blind somebody. Okay. Whoop. I know, I figured it out. So this used to go another 5 stories up. And there was on top of it was a like a lighthouse. There was a fire, like not a fire, a gigantic gewick. It was always being replaced and burned. And then they had mirrors, like they used to do in lighthouses. You build a fire and you have a mirror and it sends out the light, because they didn't have electricity, certainly out on those outposts on those islands. So it was just like that. It was like a giant lighthouse, and the light could be seen. How many miles is it, Ram? 35 miles, something like that, from Vrindavan to Agra. No, he was in, whatever. Either he was in Mathura visiting, or he was in Agra. Aurangzeb, Kamsa come again. And he saw this low, bright star on the horizon. They were very well educated. Astrology, astronomy, they knew all these things, cosmology. So what is that light? What is that star low in the sky? And the courtiers or the assistants, the pandits for Aurangzeb said, no, that's not a star. That's the light on top of the Hindu temple Govindadev. And Aurangzeb was so enraged that a Hindu temple in his kingdom was so prominent, he sent took a couple of days to organize his soldiers, and he sent them all to smash the Govindadev temple, all the temples in Vrindavan. They actually took the top 5 story. Picture this, Govindadev Mandir, 5 stories taller, and they dismantled it. They were also working on Madan Mohan temple up on that hill. And there was an earthquake. All of Vrindavan began to shake, and it freaked the soldiers out, and they all left. And that's the way they were able to hide the deities. That's a whole other story, how they hid Govindadev. But that's the land for that, and the stone was provided by Akbar, being influenced. So these are historical events. You can see the handwriting. You can see the wills. You can see the buildings. Now, here's the real confirming. Next. Now, this is an inscription by Jiva Goswami carved into the wall of the Govindadev Mandir. You can go there today. It's 8 verses about the Govindadev. It tells who the architect is. And it's by Jiva Goswami. Now, what is the translation of that part that's in red? Next. Emperor Akbar is a very kind person and a Vaishnava. I give my blessings to Emperor Akbar. This is from Jiva Goswami. In his kingdom, the Vaishnavas are living very peacefully. So that's a genuine Kshatriya. Next. We're almost done. I think we're almost done. In the Sri Sri Radha Krishna's eternal pastimes, Jiva Goswami serves as Vilas Manjari, one of the Ashtashakis intimately serving Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Next. May we always stay under the shelter of Srila Jiva Goswami. Okay, we can end there. Just a little history so we understand who are Goswamis, who the books we're reading are not sentiment, they're not emotion. The other thing that Jiva Goswami is famous for, Jiva Goswami sent the Srinivasacharya and Narottam. He made copies of, you have to remember that each book is a hand stylus. Each letter, they have to make the ink, they have to make the paper. So each book was like a jewel. And he made copies of all the Goswami's books and sent them to Navadvip for all the other Gaudiyas, and then sent them to Puri. So he's the first one, Jiva Goswami, for spreading book distribution all over the world. So the devotees, when we go out and do books, you can pray to Jiva Goswami. He started it all. From where? The center of the spiritual world, Radha Damodar Jiva Goswami's temple. So we can end there. Thanks a lot. Hare Krishna.